Yeah, everybody's got something they would change,
Yeah.
right? Like if there was no blowback at all whatsoever, like, and I don't even mean any positive feedback. I just mean if you knew for sure no one cared, what would you change about your school? And everybody's got something. Whether it's a class time or a program or a pricing or a something. And I just like, it's once in a lifetime opportunity to say, we're not teaching Little Dragons at 1 p.m. anymore. We're moving it to 4 or whatever it is that you want to do. But I think that if you don't do it freaking quickly, you're going to lose this momentum that small businesses have. Like, okay, honestly, there's not. I don't mean momentum like we're all doing great. I just mean this public sentiment. Look at what's happening in the world right now. Just 3 weeks ago, all I saw were memes about support local businesses. Those have died down, and now I see we hate BLM or we hate cops or you know what I mean. Like that's all I see now is all of this national strife and tension, and people are not in as good of a place as they were about supporting local businesses, this, that, and the other. So like, I feel like, man, you guys have to do it now. And the reality is nobody does care. They got, this is for you, martial arts owner, this is your life. But for them, it's their activity, one of 5 activities. You know, you are on the same level as swim lessons.
Yes, exactly.
But that doesn't speak to our ego as much as we want it to be more important. And I saw somebody said we would stop having classes after 6 p.m. And I was like, so do it, right? So figure out how, if you want to be home at 6:30 with your family, you have every right to be. Just decide that's what you want to do. Now here's the other thing is that I think that you probably wouldn't say that if you had 50 people coming to class
right
at 6:15. Probably you'd be like, man, I love my 6:15 class. The reason you don't want to do classes after 6 p.m., and neither do I, is because you don't see a lot of growth there or for whatever. And I think sometimes we fool ourselves into thinking if I did what the guru said, or if I just signed up more people, or if I just whatever, then I would see more there. And why not put your energy where you want it to be? If you're a kind of person who does not want to teach after 6 p.m., why not put your energy into everything that happens between noon and 6, right?
Plus, if you don't want to teach after 6, doesn't mean you have to close at 6. You
Right.
just, so you just say, well, if I close this, no, we're not saying that. You don't want to teach after 6, so you're going to bow out at 6, and Plan B is going to start teaching at 6.
Exactly, and that's that's a good point in that. Like, think of what. There's more than one way to accomplish that goal. Yeah. I think people put their energy into where I don't know. It's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? And it's this conundrum of like, why am I not paying attention and praising the wheels that are not squeaking? Yeah.
I think if I had one thing I was going to change, that this is probably the best time, is changing graduations. So you're doing quarterly graduations instead of just like testing and graduations every single month.
Oh, yes.
Now you say, okay, we're going to go through summer and it's going to be a combination of Zoom classes and live classes. September, we're going to have a major graduation. Everyone's getting a new belt at that time. And from then on, we're going to be testing only in December, March, June, and September.
Right.
I apologize for the noise in the back. Because I have a house full of workers again.
I figured that was still going on there. No, I just so happen to not have anybody. There's a you might be able to see him. There's a guy looking at our buses. Oh, can you see him? For wraps. Look at his. Okay, here, hang on. Look at this guy's truck. He's got like an F-350 or something. We're gonna go look at this truck. This is why I don't want to pay. I don't want to save $1,000 on a rack when I could pay the guy that's good and have it look really good. Look at this guy's truck. It says more cowbell, and it looks like a cow. When I saw it, I was like, that's nuts. All right, ready? That's crazy. Like, that's the kind of thing that stands out, you know. And for us in our after school program, I think, and we haven't ever had a wrapped vehicle before. I'm looking like, I like anonymity. I like for our vans to just be able to do their thing. Nobody knows that's Motion Tulsa van, but I think we're going to go ahead and get them wrapped and have it be all bright and bold. And I just had to show off that truck. I thought that was really, really funny, really cool truck. Hopefully they can do something cool with ours like that. Maybe not.
Cornerman client Kemp Brown, and he's in Tennessee. And
Yeah.
last year he bought one of those vans like they use for the rental car places.
Yeah.
So he bought one of those, and he had a wrap. His name of school is Red Dragon, so it's got all red scales all over it and everything.
That's cool.
You really can't miss that. Steve Steele's got a real nice one too. Real professionally wrapped. Looks real sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I would never do that on my personal vehicle. I wouldn't even put a sticker for our like everybody loves their Motion Tulsa stickers. I don't know. Nope. I won't put a sticker on my car. It's kind of like a status symbol. So we go to this private Montessori school, and everybody's got their little sticker. You know, they give you one sticker per year, and that's like a thing. No, I'm not putting that sticker on my car so everybody knows that black truck's mine. Nope. Yeah, I moved our graduations to not quarterly, but the end of the season. So like the end of spring, the end of summer, we used to just do them 2 times a year, and I added one in the end of summer because I wanted kids to be like, well, I'm not missing out on an opportunity to get a belt to level up, you know. I'm not quitting in the summer. Yeah, it's way better than every other, hey Dave, how's it going? Every other month or goodness, like doing half your school in 1 month and half the other, and woof, that's too much. I think you're muted, Master Silva. You were muted.
All right. I like quarterly because everyone starts at the beginning of the year, starting with new material. March works out as a good test. The one in June comes just before summertime. A lot of kids get out of school in May and early June, but they're still working at your martial arts school up until summertime. September is just a good time because now everyone's coming back and you get extra help after summer. In December, we do it before Christmas, so because we used to wait to January, but kids in practice and the January tests look terrible. This way you do it just at the end of Christmas, just before the kids go on the Christmas, just before Christmas for the Christmas break.
I like Christmas graduations because you have to do it before the break, but it gives you an opportunity to have this like 2 weeks of just fun, unique classes where you don't have to drill a bunch of curriculum. And okay, yes, this entire class can be jump flying sidekicks. You bet. Let's go. You know, or whatever. It gives you a kind of a breath of fresh air as an instructor, I think.
So I think that's one of those major things that's hard to do at any other time. But since you're doing regular classes and Zoom classes, half the people aren't coming, what a perfect time to do something major like that.
Yeah. We actually, I decided we have all this moving going on, and it's just nonstop. And when we moved from the old place to the new place, I stopped doing Zoom classes because our governor said, hey, there's no such thing as COVID. We're open, right? So we're open for regular classes. And only 5 of I only had like 30 some odd karate students left from Zoom from the whole situation. I think we had 70 parkour and like 30 karate. Well, of the 70 parkour, something like 50 said, okay, yeah, we'll come to in-person classes. But in martial arts, for some reason, like person after person was like, hey, no, you still have Zoom classes. And for me, I think everybody currently should still be offering that in order to keep those people around. If that's what you're like, if you have 50 students and 40 of them say, no way, we're not coming back, do you have Zoom classes? I think your answer should be, yeah, absolutely, on Tuesday and Thursday at 4, right? Or whatever. For me, it just didn't work out right now. So what I said is, hey, we're not going to have karate class until fall. And what I know is that 80% of those people are like, okay, makes sense. 20% of those people are going to be like, what? You know, we had a mom that was just like shaking. I can't believe you would do this, right? And it's like, man, and my answer or my phrasing that I think would be helpful to people is, I know this is a really hard time for families right now. Like, I'm going to put it on you. I know this is a really hard time for families right now. it's a challenging time for businesses as well. And we are all doing everything we can to stay alive, right? So would you like for us to be out of business? Because that's what's going to happen. That's the inference, is that we are all just doing our best. And then end it with, I know this is hard, but I really appreciate your support, right? For whatever that is, whether it's you changing, like I saw somebody say, I took this opportunity to stop teaching on Sundays. And it's like, whoa, yeah, sure. If you don't want to teach on Sundays, that should be something that any martial arts or any student could be like, I can see why the guy doesn't want to have Sunday classes, right? But he said, you know, of course, people had a lot of blowback. You have to decide what's right for you and what works for you long term. You also have to think what's long-term vision of any of these programs. Are you having trouble with your 6 p.m. classes? Well, what's your vision down the road? What do you want those 6 p.m. classes to do for you and your family and your business? What do you want your pricing to do for you and your family and your business? What should you change right now? And it's not like it has to be like that forever. Like you can say, we'll bring 6 p.m. classes back when the world's not in a global pandemic. Or you can be more honest and say, we hope to bring 6 p.m. classes back. Because then you can take the temperature of your whole email list. You've got Rainmaker, you've got 5,000 people on your email list, and you can say, hey, quick, survey, use a survey. Who would love to have a 6 p.m. class, and have a bunch of people fill that survey out. And if you get a ton of responses, then you can do a profit generator, and you can say, great, we'll start 6 p.m. class when 10 people actually pay. You pay for it, I'll put it on you can't just say I'll do it, because then that's, so like then you can process your way back to that. And then if at any point your student base is showing you that they don't want to come to that, well, then you don't have to have a class for that one person that's been with you for 5 years. The respect goes both ways. They have to understand that you have a family, or that whatever it is that you need to make for your business, you need to make for your decision. I can't tell you, like one time we built some parkour equipment, and we had a green belt parent look me in the eyes and say, I just feel like you don't even care about martial arts anymore. Parkour equipment is like all you guys do. And I'm like, as your child is dressed out for karate and everybody's lining up, and I'm like, are you serious? Right? Like, oh, I can understand how you feel. And I just got on the mat, right? Like, so everybody's going to have an opinion. You just have to decide what's right for you. And man, now's the time to make these big, massive changes.
Another thing I think I would probably do is get in line with better age group classes. Because some people I just know that the age groups really weren't thought out. And so, having a preschool class, then a younger kids class. So it was like 5 and under, 6 to 9, 10 to 14. You're not doing that. That's would be pretty good. That's something I would do right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at.
Is there anything you want to change in your school?
Yeah, we're talking about big, massive changes, Dave.
This is, great. I'm right, and this is perfect today. I kind of wanted to ask Glenn. Yeah, I'm trying to move. I know I had told Master Silva that I wanted to move for a while. My landlord is really shaking me down over this COVID thing, and now I think I've been listening to you too long, William. I'm kind of being like a smart ass about some of this. Not really, but I mean, you want to play games,
yeah.
I'll play along. But anyhow, I found a really nice space in a industrial park. There's a big gymnastics thing there. There's a couple preschools in there. A tumbling. Anyhow, it should be good. I'm just waiting for the architect to come back to see if, what I have to do. But what I wanted to ask you, as you've done this before, moving into a bigger place, this isn't gigantic. It's about 4,000 square feet. But it's almost all finished already. The offices, the room that, the classroom's all ceilinged, everything is all in there, new AC and stuff in there. But what might some of the big things like that somebody might not be thinking about, going from a strip mall type of studio into a warehouse studio where you got, I got the 15-foot doors in the back and stuff like that. What are some of the things that might be?
Yeah.
Or is that a whole different conversation?
No. It's okay. I think I think first of all, the moving conversation is important. If you got a landlord that's shaking you down, they're feeling the pain too. And I get it. But I have yet, now I am not your lawyer, right? But I have yet to hear of anyone being sued for going out of business or leaving their space. Now, I left our space and we still had 2 years on our lease, and 2 years at, I don't even want to say how much per month. I owe that place hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the reality is, like I was talking to Scott a while back, and I was like, man, this big number is squeezing all these other numbers. And I have two choices. I can continue to let this big number squeeze all these other numbers, or I can take this number and say, I don't care about you, and make this number smaller and let all these other numbers breathe a little better. And as scary as that is, like, that's what we chose to do. So you have to do what's right for you, with the understanding that what's your plan for when you get sued? Assume you're going to get sued. Assume he's going to give you a lawsuit. What's your plan then? Like, I'm fortunate to have a really nice landlord. I think that they're going to let it go. Well, we hope, but I'm not sure. So just have a plan B. Now you're going from 20. How many square feet do you have now?
1875.
I think that when you go from small to big, I see a lot of people that they don't know what to do with the space. They're not sure. How many active, pre-COVID, how many active students did you have?
130.
Okay, so that's a lot of space for 130 students. Make sure that you're not, I would say the first thing is make sure that you're not having, it's hard to describe, random dead space. For example, when we moved to this big space that we were in before, we had this big wall that we didn't know what to do with. It was just this big, bare, ugly wall. Oh, we'll put a chalkboard up. Okay, so I made this big chalkboard. Oh my God, now I have to do a chalkboard every month, and it has to look good. It can't look like crap. So it's like these things kind of spiral. Make sure that your retail area looks good. Do you have a retail area that looks good now? Where's that retail area going to go? I remember one of the hardest purchases I ever made is I bought $900 worth of retail stuff. And I remember being like, oh my God. But then I told myself, if I can't buy $900 worth of retail stuff and I'm trying to do $1 million a year or whatever, well, then I'm in the wrong business. So I was like, okay, so we just did it and it looked amazing, right? So knowing that you have, but then we had this problem of like, okay, what are we going to put on this? We don't have that much retail. Crap. We got to dust it. We got to rotate it. Like, all of a sudden everybody had this demand for t-shirts, and it's like, you're not even buying them. You want me to order 40 t-shirts and nobody buys any t-shirts. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, there were challenges like that. Noise is a big challenge because do you have drop ceilings?
Half of it has, the office area has, the finished office has drop ceiling. The place where we're going to have our classrooms has a drop ceiling. Then there's about 1,000 square feet that's not finished. It's just there's nothing done in there yet. I
would make sure you know exactly where your mats need to go. I would make sure that now is the time to change the orientation of your class. Like I can't remember who I got this from. It might have been Grandma Silva. I don't remember. But like teaching a long class versus a wide class so that I can see down the line. And that's what we did when we moved into the not this space, but the last space. And it completely changed my classes. I can see a line of 15 kids and say, Johnny, focus, versus having to go, Johnny, focus, right? So, and it's fewer mirrors, right? And I don't really care if the kids can't see themselves in the mirror. I got a couple of mirrors. We didn't even put mirrors in here. Noise is you have to make sure that you have amplification. Volume is going to be important. That creates its own issues. How are you going to, do you guys use mics now?
No. I think what we're planning on doing here is out of about a 2,000 square foot space, we're going to make either 2 or 3 smaller classrooms in there. Either right off the idea of probably the last time we spoke, like we're just going to run them at the same time, different parts, or eventually I might want to get like a portable divider wall, but make it into smaller spaces.
We used, did you ever see and it's a long time ago, did you ever see our curtain?
I did not see the curtain. I have seen them though.
we bought, it was called from curtaintracks.com, and it was expensive, but it worked, and it didn't look like a freaking shower curtain. It looked good. They'll sell you the aluminum track. They'll sell you the little rolly things. Big. It was custom made. So like I measured from my ceiling to the floor, and they said, "Well, you tell us. Do you want it to brush the floor or not?" And I was like, "Well, okay. I want it to touch the floor. Okay, it needs to be X amount of inches long." I think it was a total of 26 feet wide by like 14 feet tall or something. And when we had we wanted the whole mat, we put it up against the wall. When we wanted to split the class up, and we could divide it, so we had the mat here, and we had a curtain track, and then a U shape. So I could have the full mat, I could have 1/3 and 2/3, or I could have 1/3 and 2/3. So I didn't have it right down the middle because I knew how am I splitting up classes? I'm probably having a little white belt class and then like a big class, right? So I have like little white belts, 5, 6 white belts. I only need 1/3 of the mat. I don't want to split up half the mat. So that was one way that we did that without having to build out a bunch of rooms that end up becoming a liability. We got to clean those rooms. What if we don't have enough kids for those rooms? What if one of my instructors quits? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're using rooms, you're stuck with them. And it's rare that you build them right the first time. You know what I mean? Oh man, I wish this room was 3 feet shorter, 3 feet wider. Well, I can just call the curtain track place and say I need a different size track, and now I can do. So that's.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's something that you might look into. I'll try to find you some old pictures, but it was pretty cool.
And when you start having 2 or 3 rooms, you have less people per class, but you have to have more instructors. And so you have more expenses. And so now you're going to have to get more marketing to get more students. And it's almost like having 2 martial arts schools, but only have 1 building. So your expenses double, but your students don't double.
I'm thinking about like what we had talked about a little while back, Master Silva, like, hey, we're going to, have 2 or 3 classes going on in the same room, basically at the same time. Maybe eventually get to some type of portable wall that can be taken down for bigger events or moved up or shoved off to the side. That's just an idea I had in my head. But after hearing you say, like, no, you run them all at the same time. Just, like, oh, okay.
You should talk to Kent Brown, because Kent Brown is doing a lot of stuff inside one building. So, like, he's got a rock climbing wall. He's got a bounce house that he doesn't set up, but it's on balloons. So when he does birthday parties, up goes the bounce house. He's got the climbing wall. Now he's got another reason people want to do birthday parties. He started the ninja tricks. So now he's got a ninja tricks course. He's got his climbing wall. He's got his bounce house, and he's got his martial arts school.
Yeah. And could you change, talking about big changes, it's not just about classes, right? It's about, could you change the culture of your school? Hey, we're all on one big, huge mat, and I've got a 12-year-old teaching your 6-year-olds over here for a little 7-minute block because I run a storm program or whatever, and I've got 3 little pods. That was one of the things that I changed when we moved actually to the place where we had the curtain, which was not our last place, was I wanted to do more pods, more like you go over here, you go over here. Because at the time I like that. But I had some assistants. And it's like, you're always going to have parents that want Master Dave teaching their 5-year-old. But the reality is, your 5-year-old hasn't earned Master Dave yet. Master Dave is working with the black belts and with the red belts, and I'm teaching the assistants to teach your kid. And you've got to find clients who like that. And I'm not saying that's what you exactly have to do, but you got to find clients that like that. Or you've got to, like, you're changing it. Okay, hey, based on COVID, we're going to have one big, large class where people are kind of spread out. We don't have the ability to do this, that, or the other. Here's how it's going to happen. And within a year, 12 months, no one's going to remember that you used to have 3 different classrooms with 5 people each. You don't want to train your people to expect Mr. Dave is teaching 4 people at a time. You want to train your people to think higher volume. And the reality is, in 5 years, Mr. Dave, will you still be around? Of course. In 5 years, will that parent who's complaining be around? No. So I understand, Mr. Johnson, how you feel. This is how it has to be right now. I hope you guys still get a good experience. I got to go teach class. Cool. See you in a little bit. See you later. Bye. But eventually you have people, the only people who will stick around through these changes are people who wear it like a badge of honor. Man, I remember when we were in these little tiny classrooms, right? Now we got this cool big thing or whatever. Or they just don't tell you how they feel, and that's fine too, you know. But train your people how you want your business ultimately to be. I actually did some numbers yesterday. I was thinking how, you know, man, with this COVID, like if I start to have to actually cap class sizes, how am I going to do it? And I had a spreadsheet going on, and I looked at the profit margin. If I was going to try to do $1 million a year, $83,000 a month, I know the numbers to get there. The profit margin was smaller than if I was trying to do what I do now. I don't know everything to operate $1 million school because I've never done it, but I've operated a 600 and whatever we did last year. Like our profit margin, looking at those numbers, was actually stronger, and it looked like it was going to be easier to do than that $1 million school because we had to have X amount of full times and X amount of part time. So like, it kind of changed my thinking about, well, do I really want that ego number, or do I want to make more profit with an easier situation? So how do you want that to ultimately be, and then try to train your people to get there?
Right.
Good advice. Real good advice.
Excellent.
The other thing is, if you've got big bay doors, our bay doors, we did not do that. Which way do they face?
The long way.
Oh, sorry. Which north, east, southwest?
I don't know yet.
If they are west-facing doors, you're going to have heat problems for two reasons. Industrial doors, this is what I didn't know when we moved in here. Industrial doors are not designed to seal well. Nobody cares about that. So they're going to leak when it rains, and they're going to be hot because they're not sealed, because there's big gaps, and because the aluminum is like a freaking oven. Like, I can stand 2 feet away from my aluminum doors in the afternoon while the sun's beating them. They're west-facing. And it's like, good God, it's hot right here. Like, ouch.
Okay.
And I don't want the kids touching that door. So if they're anywhere near your training area, you might want to consider putting in glass doors like I had. They were only $6,000 a piece. But, I know, only.
They're beautiful.
But they look amazing. They open way easier. And they're like full, like all that light's coming in. And the parents, it's like, oh, the parents are like, oh, wow, right? And, hey, Mr. New Landlord, I'd love to have your space, but a colleague of mine mentioned that these aluminum doors are really not great. Here's this company that they suggested. We'd like to have these doors replaced as part of our move-in. But, you know, maybe they'll pay $6,000 or $12,000 or whatever in order to have you sign an X number of years lease.
Exactly.
And how much free rent will they give you up front? How much build out will they give you up front? Will they write you a $20,000 check to sign a 3-year lease? And, you know, there's a lot to think about there.
We're working on it, yeah.
You might get.
Luckily for me, I think it's luckily, the landlord's broker is the parent of one of my black belt kids. And I've been friends with him. So he's kind of playing both sides of the thing here. And
okay. That's another thing. This was the first time I'd ever had a broker for leasing. I'd always worked directly with the landlord, and the broker that was supposed to be representing me, and he's okay, but he kept saying, well, I don't know if we don't even know if the landlord's going to say yes to an after-school parkour martial arts type facility. I don't even know. And then he came back, oh, the landlord likes that idea, but I don't know if you have to put all this. And it was really like I did not get a clear picture of who the landlord was. I'm thinking, man, this guy's a jerk, right? No, he's the nicest guy I've ever met. He's like, hey, William, how's it going? Like, I could have gotten a way better deal if I had listened to my instinct rather than his. Like, I said, no, dude, we're getting 2 months free, period. Ask the guy. He's like, well, we don't want to offend the landlord. I'm like, look, if the landlord gets offended about that ask, then I'm in the wrong place. I should have asked for 6. He would have given it to me. He goes, yeah, here's the lease. He said yes. I'm like, oh, my God, he said yes. He didn't even come back. He did not even come back with a counter offer. He didn't say 1 month. He just said yes. So I shouldn't have listened to my broker. I should have listened to myself. So ask for way more than you think you need.
Yeah.
See what they have to say. I was irritated. and now the broker's got his commission. He's off to poo-poo the next client. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's just games.
It
Gotta
is
play.
game. Yeah. Good luck, man. Well, tell us
Yes.
next week how the update is.
All right, I will.
All right.
I gotta scoot out of here. Thanks, guys.
Good night, guys.
Hello, this is Dave.